The inner world of thoughts. Man is the maker of happiness and misery. Further, he is the creator and perpetuator of his own happiness and misery. These things are not externally imposed. They are internal conditions. Their cause is neither deity nor devil, nor circumstance, but thought. That's true, exactly. But thought. They are the effects of these, and these are the visible side of thoughts. Fixed attitudes of mind determine course of conduct, and from courses of conduct come those reactions called happiness and unhappiness. This being so, it follows that to alter the reactive condition, one must alter the active thought. To exchange misery for happiness, it is necessary to reverse the fixed attitude of mind and habitual course of conduct, which is the cause of misery, and the reverse effect will appear in the mind and the life. A man has no power to be happy while thinking and acting selfishly. He cannot be unhappy while thinking and acting unselfishly. Wheresoever the cause is, there the effect will appear. Man cannot abrogate effects, but he can alter causes. He can purify his nature. He can remold his character. There is a great power in self-conquest. There is a great joy in transforming oneself. Each man is circumscribed by his own thoughts, but he cannot gradually extend their circle. He can enlarge and elevate his mental sphere. He can leave the low and reach up the high. He can refrain from harming thoughts and bargain hateful, and can cherish thoughts that are bright and beautiful, and as he does his, he will pass into higher sphere of power and beauty, will become conscious of a more complete and perfect world. For men, living spheres in a lower high, according to the nature of their thoughts, the world is as dark and narrow as they conceive it to be, as expansive and glorious as their comprehensive capacity. Everything around them is tinged with the color of their thoughts. Consider the man whose mind is suspicious, covetous, envious. How small and mean and there everything appears to him, having no grandeur in himself. He sees no grandeur anywhere. Being ignoble himself, he is incapable of seeing nobility in any being. Even his God is covetous being that can be bright, and judges all men and women to be just as petty and selfish as he himself is. So he sees the most exact acts of unselfishness and only motives that are mean and base. Consider again the man whose mind is unsuspicious, generous, magnanimous. How wondrous and beautiful is his world. He is conscious of some kind of nobility in all creatures and beings. He sees men as true, and to him they are true. In his presence and his meanings and forget their nature, and for the moment become like himself, getting a glimpse, albeit confused, in the temporary upliftments and a higher order of things, of an imaginary nobler and happier life. That small-minded and his large-hearted men live in two different worlds, though they are neighbors. Their consciousness embraces totally different principles. Their actions are in each other reverse of the other. Their moral insight is contrary. They each look out upon a different order of things. Their mental spirits are separate, and like two detached circles, they never mingle. The the one is in hell and the other is in heaven as truly as there will ever be, and thus will not place a greater gulf between them than already exists. To the one, the world is a den of thieves, and the other, it is a dwelling place of gods. The one keeps a revolver handy, and is always on the guard against being robbed and cheated, unconscious of the fact that he is all time robbing and cheating himself. The other keeps a raised banquet for the best. He throws open his doors in talent, beauty, genius, godness. His friends are of the aristocracy of character. They have become a part of himself. They are in his sphere of thought, his world of consciousness. From his heart pours an unfolding nobility, and it returns to him tenfold as a multitude of those who love him and do him honor. Natural grace in human society, what are they but spirits of thought and modes of conduct manifesting in those spheres? The proletariat may rail against these divisions, but he will not alter and affect them. There is no artificial remedy for equalizing state of thought, having no natural affinity, and separated by their fundamental principles of life. The law lays in no abiding or eternally apart, nor originally hatred, nor pride that separates them, but states of intelligence and modes of conduct, reaching in moral principles of things, stand mutually unrelated. The rude and ill-mannered are shut off from the circle of the gentle, and refined by impassable wall of their own mentality, which, though they may remove by patient self-improvement, they can never scale by a vulgar intrusion. The kingdom of heaven is not taken by violence, but he who conforms to its principles and receives the password. The Ruthenian, most in society opinions, the saint is one of the elect, brethren whose communion is divine music. All men is mirrors reflecting according to their own surface. All men are looking at the world of men and things are looking into the mirror, which gives back their own reflection. Hmm. Each man moves in a limited or expansive circle of his own thoughts, and outside that circle is non-existent to him. He only knows that which he has become. The narrower the boundary, the more convinced is the man that there is no further limit, no other circle. The lesser cannot contain the greater, and he has no means of apprehending the larger minds, Such knowledge comes only by growth. The man who moves in a widely extended circle of thought knows all the lesser circles from which he has emerged. For in the larger experience, all lesser experiences are contained and preserved, and when each circle impinges on open spirit of a perfect manhood, when he is fitting himself for company and the communion with them of blessedness, conduct, and profound understanding, then his wisdom will have become sufficient to convince him that the wider circle still beyond of which he is as yet but dimly conscious or entirely ignorant. Men like in schoolboys find themselves in standards and classes to which their ignorance or knowledge entitles them. The curriculum of the sixth standard is measured to the boy in the first. It is outside and beyond the circle of his comprehension, but he reaches it by persistent effort and patient growth in learning. By mastering and outgrowing all the standards between, he comes at last to the sixth, and makes it learning his own, and beyond still is the spirit of the teacher. So in life, a man whose deeds are dark and selfish, full of passion and personal desire, cannot comprehend those whose deeds are bright and unselfish, whose minds are calm, deep, and pure, but they can reach his highest standard. This enlarges consciousness by effort in the right doing, by grocery thought and moral comprehension, and above and beyond all lower and higher standards than the teachers of mankind, the cosmic masters and the savior of the world whose his adherent of the various religions worship. There are great and teachers in pupils, and some there are who have not yet reached the rank of position of master, yet by a steering morality of their character are guides and teachers. But to occupy a pupil under restraint does not make a man a teacher. A man is constituted a teacher by virtue of that moral greatness in which it calls and force and respect and the reverence of mankind. Its man is as low and high as little or great, as base or noble as his thoughts, no more, no less. It moves within the sphere of his own thoughts, and that sphere is in his world, and that world is in which he forms his habits of thought. He finds his company. He dwells in a region which is harmonious with his particular growth, but he need not perforce remain in the lower worlds. He can lift his thoughts and ascend. He can pass above and beyond into higher realms, into happier habitations. When he chooses and wills, he can break the raw pace of selfish thought and breathe the purer airs of the more expansive life. Okay. The inner world of thoughts. Man is the maker of happiness and misery. Further, he is the creator and the perpetuator of his own happiness and misery. These things are not externally imposed, they are internal conditioned. Okay. The cause is neither duty nor devil nor circumstance, but thoughts. Hmm. Okay, the inner world of thoughts. Man is the maker of happiness and misery. Further, he is the creator and perpetuator of his own happiness and misery. These things are not externally imposed, they are internal conditions. Their cause is neither deity nor devil, nor circumstance, but thought. There are effects of these, and these are the visible side of thoughts. Fixed attitudes of mind determines courses of conduct, and from courses of conduct come those reactions called happiness and unhappiness. This being so, it follows that to alter the reactive condition, one must alter the active thought. To exchange misery for happiness, it is necessary to reverse the fixed attitude of mind and the habitual course of conduct, which is the cause of misery, and the reversed effect will appear in the mind and life. He can act the causes. He can purify his nature. He can remold his character. There is a great power in self-conquest. There is a great joy in transforming oneself, which man is circumscribed by his own thoughts, but he can gradually extend their circle. He can enlarge and elevate his mental sphere. He can leave the low and reach up to the high. He can refrain from harboring thoughts that are dark and hateful, and can cherish thoughts that are bright and beautiful. And as he does his, he will pass into the higher sphere of power and beauty, will become conscious of more complete and perfect world. For men live in a sphere low or high according to the nature of their thoughts. Their world is as dark and narrow as they conceive it to be, as expansive and glorious as their comprehensive capacity. Everything around them is tinged with the color of their thoughts. Consider the man whose mind is suspicious, covetous, envious. How small and mean and dear everything appears to him. Having no grandeur in himself, he sees no grandeur anywhere. Being ignoble himself, he is incapable of seeing nobility in anything. Even his God is covetous in a being that can be bribed. And he judges all men and women to be just and petty and selfish as he himself is. So that he just sees, so that he sees, and the most exalted act of unselfishness only motives and that are mean and base. Consider again the man whose mind is unsuspicious, generous, magnanimous. How wondrous and beautiful is his world. He is conscious of some kind of nobility in all creatures and beings. He sees men as true, and to him they are true. In his presence and the meanest forget their nature, and for the moment becomes like himself, getting a glimpse, albeit confused, and that temporary upliftments in a higher order of things are as an immeasurably nobler and a happier life. The small-minded and this large-hearted may live in two different worlds, though they be neighbors. Their consciousness embraces entirely different principles. Their actions are each the reverse of the other. Their morale instead is contrary. They each look out upon a different order of things. Their mental spheres are separate, and like two detached circles, they never mingle. And the one is in the hell, and the other in heaven, as truly as they will ever be. And that will not place any greater gulf between them than already exists. To be one, the world is in a den of thieves. To the other, it is the dwelling place of gods. The one keeps a revolver handy and is always on guard against being robbed or cheated, unconscious of the fact that he's all the time robbing and cheating himself. The other kids read the banquet for the best. He dressed up in his stores in talent, beauty, genius, goodness. His friends are the aristocracy of character. They have to become a part of himself. They are in his sphere of thought, his world of consciousness. From his heart pours forth nobility, and they return to him tenfold in the multitude of those who love him and do him honor. The natural grace in human society, what are they but spheres of thought, and the modes of conduct manifesting in those spheres? My body a bit tired and tight, so I'm gonna stop here. Okay, good.